The lights come up on the set, which has several doors which open out. The centre door, which is Sydney's bedroom, and Claire's bedroom, are the only ones which reveal any set. There is a single bed, a chair, and a wardrobe. The mattress on the bed in Sydney's room is slightly ripped. The nurse's station is denoted by a desk and a few chairs. The day room takes up most of the stage.
That one was specially for Karen in Cedar Ward, who is being discharged today after 18 months. We wish you all the best, and don't take this the wrong way, Karen, but we never want to see you again. Now, a special request from Kelsey in Oak Ward, who is 21 today. Lucky boy. And this song is for his mother, Leona, his sister, Belle, and his grandmother, Dorothea. Harry Belafonte singing Island in the Sun.
The lights come up on the main area. Nurse Rosa Quendi is in the nurse's office dealing with all the medication. Sanjay, the staff nurse, is knocking on the doors of the patients for their medication.
Evie, medication. Nan, medication. Carol, medication. Sydney, medication. Thomas, medication. Ollie, medication.
Have you got something for me, cunt? It's itching something rotten.
Don't you speak to me like that.
I've been up all night with it.
Take your pills. Swallow them.
Will Dr. Sharma see me today?
The doctor is only seeing new patients.
But I need to see him.
You will see him on Tuesday in the ward round.
I can't wait that long.
I will tell Dr. Khan you want to see him.
But I like Dr. Sharma.
I don't care who you like. Now go into the day room.
What happened to your face?
I cut myself shaving.
Oh, you look a right mess. You're not going to attract the boys looking like that.
Oh, fuck off.
There's no need for language like that, Sydney. You've been warned about it.
I couldn't sleep last night.
That's because you sit all day and do nothing. You don't go for walks in the park with the others or keep fit classes. Swallow.
Sanjay enters, wheeling the food trolley. Someone has switched off the radio. Claire, the new patient, comes out of her room.
Hello, Claire. How did you sleep last night?
How could you expect me to sleep with all that racket going on? Doors slamming, people screaming, nurses shining a light on me every 5 minutes. What sort of a place is this?
It's a hospital, Claire.
It's Miss Sutton.
Okay, Miss Sutton. You need to take your medication.
Medication? What sort of medication?
Tablets that your doctor has been subscribing.
I haven't been near a doctor in years.
There was a doctor who admitted you last night.
Oh, some silly mistake. Now, I don't want to waste your valuable time anymore. I'll just get my hat and coat. We'll say no more about it.
I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Then I need to speak to someone in charge.
I'm the senior staff nurse. The ward sister is on maternity leave. The consultant, Dr. Sharma, will be seeing you shortly.
My last line manager was born in Mumbai, Mr. Chakrabarti. We got on like a house on fire. His wife used to send me delicious Indian snacks in little Tupperware containers. During slack periods, Mr. Chakrabarti and I would talk about everything under the sun: art, politics, music, Brexit. We didn't always see eye to eye, but that was half the fun. I'm looking forward to seeing your Dr. Sharma.
And he's looking forward to seeing you. Have some breakfast.
I never eat breakfast.
Go and sit with the others. Have a cup of tea.
If you insist.
She goes into the day room, another queue which formed along the food trolley with Sydney at the top. Sanjay opens the food trolley to reveal canisters of porridge and watery scrambled egg.
Morning, Sydney. You must be careful when you're shaving.
I don't like porridge.
It's good for you, Sydney.
I came to see you yesterday, but you weren't there.
I was very busy and we're very short-staffed.
I needed to have a one-to-one.
You can see Nurse Okarama.
I don't like him.
Sydney, I'm not your nurse. Nurse Okarama is your nurse today.
Yeah, well, I want to talk to you.
Go and have your breakfast.
You never have any time anymore. Have I upset you?
No.
Then what's wrong?
There are over 20 patients on this ward and only 3 members of staff. That's what's wrong. You're not the only one who needs help.
Yeah, but before you...
I will see if Nurse Okarama can talk to you later.
No,
Then go and talk to one of the patients.
I can't talk to them.
Sydney, you're holding up the queue.
You were too nice to him at the beginning. Now he won't leave you alone. He's not used to anyone taking any notice of him, especially someone like you, Sanjay. What were you and Dr. Sharma? We're spoilt for choice.
Thank you, Evie.
You knew.
You talk to me.
Yeah, you knew.
I shouldn't be here.
Well, that's what they all say. I'm Evie.
Claire Sutton.
Pleased to meet you, Claire.
I prefer Miss Sutton.
It's all first names here. Doesn't matter who you are.
I'll be leaving after I've seen the doctor.
Why don't you stay and keep me company? There's nobody to talk to round here. They're all fucking nutters. I bet you went to university.
Sheffield, history and French.
I can tell by the way you talk. If you don't mind me saying, darling, those look like very expensive earrings.
Well, they belong to my mother.
Don't take them off. They'd steal anything round here that ain't nailed down. This place is full of dossers, junkies and real nutters. I mean, I don't mean people like you and me. I mean people really off their heads. Yesterday, one of them, Clive, attacked one of the nurses with a piece of broken glass. Oh, but don't worry, darling, I'll look after you.
I'll be out of here as soon as I've seen the doctor.
But if they keep you in, I'm your friend. I've been in and out of these places for years, so I know the drill. I'm a schizophrenic.
That's just a label.
No, it isn't. I hear voices. Well, not so much now. I miss them. They were good company, especially Julia. That was my name for the female voice. Well, she used to tell me to do things, you know, bad things, like trip old ladies on the stairs. She was funny, though. But I don't listen. Not to her, not anymore. Dr. Sharma said it's a good thing. You'll see Dr. Sharma soon. He's ever so nice. Always taken an interest in me. He doesn't take an interest in everybody. He wears lovely suits with stripes and cufflinks, and he spends a lot of money on socks. I'm knitting him a jumper. He reckons I might not be a schizophrenic after all, but have a personality disorder. But I prefer being a schizophrenic. People with personality disorders don't hear voices.
Don't they?
I'm on the waiting list for one of them systemic psychologists. Tell the doctor you want to see one.
Well, I've never heard of them.
They deal in solutions.
Solutions?
Don't tell me. I bet you've been abused by your father.
Absolutely not.
Or your uncle or a friend of the family, and your mother said nothing. Well, what these systemic psychologists do, according to Dr. Sharma, is teach you to forget the past and just concentrate on the present. I mean, let's face it, darling, we've all got a past.
Evie showing you the ropes.
You could say that.
Jolly good.
Sydney, this is Claire.
Hello.
Hello.
Sydney and I are neighbours. Only he pretends he doesn't know me.
Why would anyone want to know you, you fat cow?
Fuck you, Sydney! Here!
Ugh, porridge.
Oh, sorry, Sanjay. That porridge was meant for Sydney.
Sanjay storms off into the nurse's office.
What happened to you?
Evie threw her porridge in my face. It wasn't meant for me.
At home, we will refuse to treat a woman like that.
The lights fade on Sanjay and Rose.
You didn't film that on my phone. That was great comedy.
Things like that have never made me laugh.
Well, stick around here and you'll find plenty to laugh about.
I'm a very good judge of character. Sanjay seems like a very nice young man.
Oh, he's a darling. But he is gay.
Well, one of my colleagues at work is gay, Howard. We go together every year to the Christmas market in Hanover. His friend doesn't like to travel. Well, he's 81.
Sanjay's got a gorgeous boyfriend who's a nurse in intensive care. He's Italian. His name is Fabio. He's well fit. Oh, I'd love to know who's the boy and who's the girl. Probably take it in turns, you know, a ride there for a ride back. I've seen them together in the hospital shop holding hands. For an Indian man, Sanjay's very upfront about it all, if you know what I mean. Trouble is, Sydney, he's seen them and he's got jealous. Well, let's face it. What chance has Sydney got, old ugly cunt with the lovely Sanjay? We'd all like a go with Sanjay. Indian men do it for me big time. After you've seen the doctor, you and me can do art therapy. Then this afternoon, it's looking at newspaper headlines with Yvonne. Then every Tuesday, Yvonne takes us for a walk around the park and we look at the ducks. And on Mondays, there's music therapy and we bang on drums and play with guitars. You can tell me anything. You know, I'm as good as a doctor. Are you married?
No.
Any kids?
Children? No.
Mine were all taken away from me. 2 girls and a boy. Well, I couldn't look after them. Well, you can't when you're hearing voices. They're all right, though. I'd like to see them. Francesca's 30. I was very young. Ella is 29. I named her after Ella Fitzgerald, and my boy Michael is 27. I've got all their pictures from when they was babies. I'll show you later.
Nurse Aquendi comes out of the nurse's station.
Doctor will see you now.
Oh, lucky you.
Come on.
The nurse leads Evie into the nurse station. Dr. Sharma is thumbing through a file. Nurse Aquendi enters with Claire.
Miss Sutton, take a seat, please. I'm Dr. Sharma, the consultant for this ward.
Yes.
Now, Miss Sutton, or can I call you Claire?
I prefer Miss Sutton.
Of course. Now, Miss Sutton.
Dr. Sharma, you look like a very reasonable man. Let's put our cards firmly on the table. This has all been some terrible mix-up.
Why do you think that?
Well, you know as well as I do that I shouldn't be here. I know how busy you must be. The NHS are overstretched without wasting time on someone like me.
You're not wasting my time, Miss Sutton. I'm here to help.
With all due respect, I don't need help.
What happened last night, Miss Sutton?
Last night.
You were brought here by the police. Your neighbour, Mrs. Gradowski, said you threw a bucket of hot bleach at her.
I was cleaning the front steps. I didn't see her coming.
She said it wasn't the first time.
I clean my front steps every day.
Can I ask you, Miss Sutton, do you have a partner?
A partner?
Do you live alone?
Yes.
Are you still working?
I retired 3 years ago.
Do you miss it?
I took voluntary redundancy. Like all government-run educational organisations, they were facing large cuts. Some of us who'd been there the longest were expected to go.
How long were you there, Miss Sutton?
Over 30 years.
Quite a wrench.
Yes, well, at first. But now I'm thoroughly enjoying my retirement.
I put it to you, Miss Sutton, that all your odd behaviour started when you retired.
What odd behaviour?
Throwing hot bleach at your neighbour. There have been numerous complaints about you screaming abuse at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Abuse? I don't know what you're talking about.
You called Miss Skridovsky filthy, rotten whore, and she'll burn in hell.
Well, she is.
According to your neighbours, Mrs. Skridovsky is a hard-working single mum bringing up 2 small children.
She's a whore. Men coming up and down those stairs at all hours of the day and night. I've reported her to the council countless times, but you know what these councils are like these days. Always take the side of the perpetrators and not the victim.
Do you see yourself as a victim, Miss Sutton?
Certainly not. But she shouldn't be allowed to carry on as a prostitute in council property.
You don't know that.
We live in a conversion. I bought earplugs, but you can hear every grunt, every moan. It's quite disgusting. And tell me, where does a single mother living on state benefits afford to buy all those expensive clothes she wears? She even bought a car. I'm sorry, but people like her know how to play the system.
You never reported her.
What, rat on a rat? That's not my style.
How do you feel about sexual relations, Miss Sutton?
I think we should stop right here. Thank you for your time, but I need to get home to let my cleaning lady in.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Miss Sutton.
Are you keeping me here against my will?
It's for your own good.
This is outrageous.
You're being held here by the Mental Health Act for 72 hours under observation. If we decide to keep you here longer, you can appeal to a tribunal. In the meantime, Miss Sutton, why not cooperate with us and enjoy the many activities we have to offer?
I wouldn't let my cat stay here. Have you seen the state of the ladies' toilet?
I will inform the domestic staff.
Well, I've nothing in common with the sort of people here.
But you don't know that, Miss Sutton. I appreciate it must be a bit of a shock finding yourself here, but we're not custodians. We're here to help.
Well, you have put me in a madhouse full of crazy people when I'm perfectly sane.
Nobody said that you weren't sane, Miss Sutton.
Well, we've agreed on that. So just let me go. We'll hear no more about it.
I can't do that.
Can't or won't. Have you got nothing better to do than lock up a perfectly sane woman?
You were sent here because of your irrational behaviour.
Nonsense.
We want to observe you, find out why you're behaving this way. We're a team here. Doctors, nurses, occupational therapists, house psychologists.
They sent me to a psychologist once at work.
Why?
But we all went for an assessment.
And what was the outcome?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing other than I was a first-class team player and an asset to the organisation.
I'm sure you were. Now, Nurse Equendi will take you back to the ward and we'll have another chat tomorrow.
Nurse Equendi puts her arm gently on Claire's shoulder.
Get off me!
She quite violently pushes the nurse, who presses an alarm button at the side. Sanjay rushes in.
Thank you. Write her up for 400 milligrams of quietupain 3 times a day. Confine her to a room until she's calmed down.
I won't take any of your antipsychotic drugs. My neighbour was on lithium for 40 years and died of kidney failure.
Swallow this.
I won't take any of your mind-altering drugs.
Just swallow it.
No!
It's just a mild sedative to relax you.
Swallow it.
No!
If you don't swallow it, we'll have to give you an injection.
They
You have
stand
nice
over
rest
her.
now, Claire. We're only next door.
They move out of the room into the nurse's station, where Dr. Sharma is sitting behind his desk, going through files.
That certain woman is going to be a lot of trouble.
Did she take the medication?
And we had to threaten her with an injection.
She's an intelligent woman.
The more intelligent, the more the trouble.
We need to free up one of the beds immediately. I've just had the police on. They arrested a young man last night walking on the streets with no clothes on. They can't get him to say much. He tried to self-harm last night. The duty psychiatrist said he's a paranoid schizophrenic.
Is he dangerous?
Well, like them all, only to himself.
We can discharge Brewer.
Sydney,
He shouldn't be here.
he's sick.
He just can't cope. He's not psychotic. Is he, doctor?
No,
You see?
he is morbidly depressed with feelings of acute paranoia and suicidal tendencies.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with him.
Rose, you've never liked him.
I am a nurse. My personal feelings don't come into it.
All right, we urgently need a bed, so it's either Brewer or Evie Garrett.
Why can't we chuck them both out?
You're all heart, aren't you, Rose?
I am trying to make sure that we help those who really need it. You came into this profession like I did.
We all want to help as many people as we can, but it's not easy. I need to free up a bed, so leave it with me. Thank you.
They exit. Dr. Sharma is behind his desk. Sanjay goes to a quiet corner and dials his mobile.
Hello, babe. Got a break in 15 minutes. Terrible morning. Tell you all about it. See you there.
He switches off the mobile. Sydney shuffles out of his bedroom and bumps into Evie.
Sydney, you've been avoiding me ever since you got here. You know who I am. And I know who you are, darling. And your mother was Doreen. She didn't like me, did she?
My mammy's dead.
I know. She tried to make my life a misery when she was alive, didn't she? It's all right. I don't bear any grudges. Poor cow.
Don't call her that.
Oh, just remember, I never called you names. I never called you an old ugly perv or a paedophile. It was others on the estate that did that, not me. Just you remember.
What are you doing?
Just chatting with Sydney.
Go to the art class. You are here to do OT, not sit around and talk.
She goes off into the nurse's office.
I can't stand her. Trouble with them African nurses is they believe in black magic. You know, voodoo. I caught a whole load of them holding a sort of coven and they was chanting voodoo. Nurse Aquendy is a sadistic black bitch. She threw me to the wall last week to give me an injection.
Yeah, but you're black yourself.
I'm not black. My mother was white as a sheet. She was born in cuts and my nan was born in Epsom. 2 of my babies were snow white when they was born. I'm not black, look. Oh, look who you calling black, you filthy old paedophile.
What is all this shouting?
He called me black.
I don't care what he called you. There's no shouting in the day room. If you don't keep quiet, I will have to give you another injection.
I'm as white as you are, Sydney. Never call me black again. I'm a white woman, same as the new ladies. We're 2 white ladies.
Well, don't call me a paedophile.
I never did.
Because I'm not. My mammy said you were a prostitute.
Oh, your mammy said a lot of things. I did nothing to be ashamed of. I was getting my kids through private school. What other single mum could say that? I was very particular about my clientele. Only professional gentlemen came through my door. I had several MPs, 2 High Court judges and an actor who did Shakespeare and a property developer. They was my regulars. I knew how to make them feel welcome and relaxed. I was stuck up for you, Sydney. Just remember that.
Doctor wants to see you now.
Oh, can I see him today?
You can see him on the ward round, same as everybody else.
Sydney follows the nurse into the nurse's office. The doctor is waiting for him.
How are you today?
All right.
Good. How are you getting on with the surgery?
It's all right.
No side effects? Constipation, dry mouth, dizziness?
Not really. No.
On the scale of 1 to 10, How depressed would you say you are? 10 being your most depressed and 1 being your least.
Don't know. About 7.
That's good. The last time you said 9, so some definite improvement there.
Well, maybe 8.
Good. Well, now, we're going to discharge you today.
Today?
Yes. You see, if you stay here too long, the benefits of the place run out.
Well, I've only been here 10 days.
We'd like you to go home this evening.
I can't go home.
Why not?
You don't know what it's like. They hate me there. They called me an ugly pedo. They threw eggs at my window. You were supposed to get me another place to live. Well, now that my mammy's died, I don't need 2 bedrooms. I could do a swap with someone who wants a 2-bedroom flat. I could go to a nice area like, Belsize Park or Primrose Hill.
Your social worker's looking into that.
But can't I stay here till they find me somewhere else?
That could take a long time.
I could sleep in the corridor.
We're doing what's best for you, Sydney. You have a CPN.
I never see her.
We'll make sure she keeps an eye on you.
It's those fat slags with the baby buggies. They're the worst. People with children are taken over. They're everywhere. At the post office, in McDonald's, in the park. You can't move in case you fall over them on their bloody scooters. We're expected to get out of the way. We don't exist.
But didn't you call them names?
They provoke me.
Then you'll just have to ignore them.
Please don't send me home, Doctor.
There's a community centre for over 55s. All sorts of activities.
I don't like activities.
The longer you stay here, the more difficult it will be for you to finally leave. You can see me in outpatients in 3 months.
3 months?
Have you any friends?
No.
Not anyone?
We did have a friend.
What happened?
He blocked me on his phone.
Why?
Well, no. I met him in the cemetery. I wasn't there to meet anyone, if you know what I mean. But well, it doesn't matter. But he gave me his phone number and we met 4 times. Then he blocked me.
Have you met people before like this?
Yeah. No. Does it matter?
I'm not here to tell you where and how you should meet people. That's totally your choice. But I want to help you to try and lead a normal life outside of the hospital. Have you ever had a long-term relationship?
Long-term relationship?
Yes.
With a man?
Or a woman?
No. Oh, no, there was a man. He was a tree surgeon. And he used to come to cut down a tree in the garden. I used to make him cups of tea. He was very friendly. Then I found out where else he was going, and I'd go and see him. He was always pleased to see me.
Is that all that happened?
He moved out of London. He said he'd be in touch, but he never was.
Sydney, you will be 65 on your next birthday.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to stop looking for this sort of thing.
What sort of thing?
Sexual encounters.
Doctor, are you a Muslim?
No, I'm not. What on earth has that to do with it?
Well, I know what that lot are like. We've got a few of them on the estate.
Look, I'm not against same-sex relations, but I think you should be looking beyond that.
So what do you suggest?
Plenty of exercise, good diet, get involved in group activities. Keep taking the medication. I'll increase the sertraline, and that will help with the depression. This is the details of your local crisis centre. You can ring them if you're feeling desperate, or you can go straight to A&E.
Last time I went to A&E, I waited 4 hours. And then they told me to contact my crisis team in the morning. And when I rung them, the person who I needed to speak to was on leave for a fortnight.
What did you do?
I drew the curtains and went to bed for a week.
Well, try and keep as active as possible, and I'll see you in 3 months.
Doctor, please.
Sydney, you'll be okay. Now get ready to go home. We'll order you a taxi.
Thank goodness he is going. He should not have been here in the first place.
Don't be too harsh.
He was wasting a bed for somebody who really needs it. I need to check on the new patient.
I've told Sydney he's being discharged.
How did he take it?
Not very well.
Isn't there a bed at St. Luke's?
No, and they won't take anybody over 65. The trouble is, he's not psychotic, just chronically depressed. We've done all we can. He was getting very attached to you.
I did nothing to encourage it.
I know. You're an excellent nurse, Sanjay.
Thank you.
In fact, my wife would love you and your friend
Fabio,
to come over to dinner.
that would be lovely.
Oh, you know what a good cook Bima is. All those samosas she made for the Christmas party. We're vegetarians.
So is Fabio, only he's allergic to mushrooms.
Ah, that's good to know. When are you free?
Next week we're both on lates, but the week after?
Excellent. I'll check with Bina and put a date in the diary. And don't worry about Sydney. We've done all we can. He's just another sociopath. I've been dogged by them all my professional life. They're manipulative and selfish. I'd like to read the system of them all together.
Hi, babe. It's been one thing after another this morning. They're really playing up. Maybe I could pop down to intensive care for a bit of peace and quiet. Guess what? Dr. Sharma's asked us over for dinner. Be rude not to. I think he wants to show us he's gay friendly. Remember how uptight he was when he first came? Got to go. See you later, babe. Come in.
I did this in art class.
It's very good.
Elspeth said that it's beautiful. The baby is 100 years old, but she's not born yet. Will you keep it safe for me?
Safe?
I don't want Nurse Akwendi to see it. She'll burn it.
Of course she won't.
She'll use it as a ritual offering. Didn't you see them all in a huddle? The other nurse was with them, you know, the big black man, Nurse Okarama.
They were on their break.
They was chanting.
They were enjoying their break. They're entitled to relax.
They were cackling and creating spells. You know, they're African voodoo.
Evie, you must stop saying things like that. They're nurses. They're educated people. They studied in this country for 3 years.
I don't care. There are still witches, all of them.
I don't want to hear any more of these accusations. Nurse Akwendi was the kindest staff nurse when you were first admitted. I was on leave and she really cared for you. These are racist accusations, Evie, and if you carry on like this, you will land yourself into a lot of trouble. Now go back to art class.
It's finished.
There's a discussion group this afternoon.
I don't like politics.
You can sit and listen. It might do you some good.
Sanjay ushers Evie out of the office. She bumps into Sydney coming out of the laundry room with the bag full of washing.
What's that?
What does it look like? They're sending me home today.
That time.
What about you?
I hear voices.
You're making it up so you can stay.
I've got a lovely home, not like the pig hole you live in.
You've never been in my home.
I've smelt it.
My mammy and I were trying to lead quiet lives.
Your mammy was an interfering old hag. She did her best to get me evicted.
It's a council property, not for cheap old whores.
Well, it's better than being a disgusting old pervert.
Sydney tries to leave, but Evie grabs hold of him.
I know everything about you. Steve, one of the gay boys that lives in the next block, told me all about you, Sydney. Steve used to like to do it for a bit of pin money, you know, like me. Evie, he said, I thought I'd come across everything, but that weirdo upstairs, well, I won't repeat what he wanted to do with me. I nearly puked up.
Lying bitch. I never went with no one called Steve.
And then when you couldn't have him, it was Jamie, and even he drew the line, and Jamie'd do anything for anyone for a tenner. He was that desperate, poor kid, thin as a rake, covered in sores, but you didn't care, did you, Sydney? And you know how old Jamie was? He wasn't even 16. You know what that makes you? I know he told everyone he was 18. What would Mammy say?
Shut up! Shut up!
I thought I'd come across everything until I heard what you wanted, and Jamie was a minor.
I fucking hate you, you black bitch!
He storms off and goes into his bedroom. He puts his laundry on the floor and sits on his chair. Sanjay and Nurse Akwendi enter.
Sydney, we need to strip the room for the next patient. Can you put everything in your case?
They start to pull the mattress off the bed and replace it with a new mattress.
We've ordered a taxi for you.
Don't worry, we'll pay for it.
The buzzer goes.
I'll go.
What are you going to do when you get home? You should have a plan.
Can I come and see you?
That's not possible once you've been discharged. You know that.
Couldn't we meet for a coffee?
No. Try and make some new friends.
They all hate me.
That's not true.
You don't hate me.
Of course I don't.
You like me a bit.
Sydney, you were my patient. And while you were here, I cared for you like I cared for all my patients.
Even Evie.
All my patients. The taxi will be here soon. Good luck.
They shake hands. Sanjay leaves. Sydney continues packing, then moves out of his room with his bag and walks right across the stage until he is out of sight. The lights change. It is the middle of the night. A young male night nurse is doing a ward check, looking into the cubby holes of all the rooms. We hear various noises, cries, snores. Claire comes out of her room, fully clothed. Miss Sutton, where are you going?
I'm going home. My brother's coming to collect me.
Your brother?
Yes, he's come all the way from Hastings. He's my next of kin. Didn't you contact him?
It's 2:00 in the morning. Why don't you go back to bed and we can talk about it in the morning?
But he's here in the car park.
There's no one there, Miss Sutton.
Are you going to let me leave? Oh, this door is locked. You're keeping me here against my will.
We're keeping you here for your own good.
This place is full of psychopaths and substance abusers. I'm a very educated woman.
I'm sure you are, Miss Sutton.
I held down a very responsible job for over 30 years.
We're here to help you.
I don't need help. I need to speak to my brother. He's waiting there.
The day staff tried to ring your brother several times, but the number you gave is unobtainable.
I'll try again.
They will in the morning.
My brother's a very busy man. He often doesn't answer my calls. He's a retired Queen's counsellor, but he's still very active on the legal front, especially for deprived families. He'd get me out of this place quicker than you can say Jack Robinson.
Why don't you go back to bed?
You seem like a very nice young man.
Thank you.
Are you sure this is the sort of work you should be doing?
I like helping people.
Well then, open that door and let me out.
Why don't I make you a nice cup of hot chocolate? It'll help you sleep. Have you got a book to read?
Oh, I've got an extensive library at home, but I was whisked in here with hardly a stitch on me. Oh, Alice Through the Looking Glass. I haven't read that since I was a child.
Why don't you take it to bed with you and I'll bring you a nice cup of hot chocolate?
Isn't there something a bit more? Oh, The Moonstone, Wilkie Collins. Now, that's always a good read. Did you know it was the first detective novel ever written? Collins was a great friend of Dickens. They collaborated on plays.
Oh, there you are, Miss Sutton. You've got something nice to read.
Well, what about my brother? He hates to be kept waiting.
They'll call him in the morning. He gently escorts her back to her room. The lights fade, then come up. It is morning. We hear Nina Simone singing.
That was the one and only Nina Simone, and a special request from Sally in Ash Ward.
Miss Sutton, medication. Good morning.
Good morning. There was a man in my room last night.
That was the night nurse, Graham, doing his rounds.
It wasn't the night nurse. I know the night nurse. We had a very nice chat, and he made me a cup of hot chocolate and a slice of toast. It was another man. It must have been a patient. That's why I've always been against mixed wards.
No man would have been able to get past the night staff.
I'm not imagining these things, you know. I can give you an exact description. He was a big, thick-set sort of man, swarthy, with one of those ponytails and a tattoo of a fighting dog on both arms.
Why didn't you press the alarm?
Well, he held me down.
What?
I managed to fight him off. I've got a black belt in judo. He then left.
You should still have pressed the alarm.
I went straight back to sleep.
It was a bad dream.
He needs reporting.
He doesn't fit any description of a patient here.
He obviously escaped from another ward.
That's impossible, Miss Sutton.
I'm not a mental patient, you know. I didn't imagine it.
Like I said, it was a dream.
He had one of those heavy European accents. Couldn't hardly understand a word he said.
Like I said, Miss Sutton, we'll look into it.
Have you managed to contact my brother?
The number you gave us is unobtainable.
I spoke to him only the other day.
We tried both numbers you gave us and his email bounced back.
Probably away somewhere where there's no signal.
We'll keep trying. Now go and join the others in the day room.
Evie is sitting alone.
Here, come and sit with me. Oh, I'm glad you've decided to stay.
My brother's collecting me this afternoon. He's a QC. He'll get you out of here as well.
I like it here.
You like it?
Yes. I don't want to go home, not yet. I'm safe here. My voices don't bother me so much. When I get home, they take over. There's nothing for me at home. You wouldn't want to know the sort of life I've had.
It's none of my business.
I was a prostitute.
I see.
You're shocked.
Well, the woman living upstairs to me is a prostitute, only she pretends she's some respectable single mum bringing up 2 children, but she is a whore. But you must promise me that you want to reform.
I do.
Your soul needs cleansing.
Are you religious? I'll start going to church.
There is no God, Evie, only the one we create for ourselves. The Bible is the biggest work of fiction ever written.
Oh, I wish I was educated like you. A degree and everything. I like to think that all my babies have been to university. I wrote a story once. And it won a competition. It was the last time I was in hospital. They had a computer and it corrected all my spelling mistakes. I was good at writing stories at school, only I couldn't spell or do all the full stops and commas. And I sent it off to Mills and Boon, and they sent me a box of paperbacks.
Oh.
They sent me a box every Christmas.
Did they publish it?
Well, they said something about keeping it in reserve. It was all about a girl, well, a woman, really. She was over 40, single who works in a biscuit factory, and all the other girls make fun of her, you know, because she's a bit fat and a bit slow, but she wins this competition to go on a luxury cruise and meets this man who also won a competition, and they get married.
Well, sounds like it's full of social conscience.
I used to read all their books.
You should write another one. Maybe not a romance.
Well, that one just came to me. Nothing's come since.
Well, I can help you. I did a course in creative writing. I know how to inspire people.
The lights fade on the two women, and a centre spot comes up on Sydney, who moves the chair downstage centre. He opens a bag, pulls out several articles until he pulls out a plastic clothesline. He stands on the chair. He attaches the clothesline to a light on the ceiling. He ties a noose and puts his head through the noose. He kicks the chair away and hangs himself. The lights darken, but there is a silhouette on the back wall of a man hanging. This goes to blackout and the lights come up on the nurse's office. Dr. Sharma, Nurse Akwendi and Sanjay are holding a meeting. It is the following morning.
I knew this was happen. We
Just
should
the
never
blood.
have discharged him.
It's just the bloody press to make a sensation out of it. Lonely pensioner found hanging by the neck just one day after being discharged from the Royal Northern Psychiatric Unit. It goes on. There's no hope we can keep it from the patients now. It's all over the front page.
Who found him?
Christine, his community nurse. Well, they can't accuse us of not following up with his care.
I am sorry he is dead, but we need to think about the new patient. Has he spoken yet?
No.
He is a very sick boy.
Sydney was sick.
I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but he was a very lazy, dirty man.
He was a 65-year-old ugly homosexual. Society didn't want to know about him. We didn't want to know about him.
Sanjay, I tried to help him. In my experience, if someone wants to commit suicide, there's nothing anyone can do.
Then what are we here for?
To help those who really need us, like the new patient.
Taylor.
He is a boy from a very poor background. We don't know what torment he is suffering.
I've written him up for Risperdal and Quietapine at night. We'll see how he responds.
I feel responsible for Sydney.
You mustn't feel like that. You were so kind to him during his short stay with us.
Too kind.
That's the trouble. You can't get involved with these people.
I tried not to, but he had a way of sucking me back in.
These patients are very manipulative.
He couldn't help himself. He wanted a one-to-one with me, and I said no.
You mustn't beat yourself up about this. When I was on Oak Ward, a young girl from Ghana, only 19, killed herself the day she was discharged. I felt sick to my stomach, but I had to accept it.
You're right, of course. You mustn't take it personally. Did he have any relatives?
No, I don't think so.
There'll have to be an inquest. The council will have to bury him. I doubt there'll be a funeral.
Poor man.
You're a good nurse, Sanjay.
Thank you, Rose.
I always looked up to you, but don't hold on to this. I know what I'm talking about.
Sanjay, how does Tuesday the 14th look for you and your friend, Fabio, to come for dinner?
That should be fine.
I've invited Dr. Welby and his partner, or should I say husband, Tom. So should be a very interesting evening.
We go into Sydney's old room, where a young man is sitting silently. Nurse Akwendi enters wheeling a trolley to check blood pressure. She also has a thermometer to check his temperature.
You've hardly touched your food, but you must drink.
She picks a beaker of water and puts it to his lips. He drinks slowly.
That's very good. I want to take your blood pressure. It's a little high, but you are stressed. I will take it again in a few hours. Now let me put this under your tongue. Very good. Why don't you come outside and join the others? Okay? Taylor, I will see you later.
She goes off past Evie and Claire, who are sitting in the day room.
I should never have said those things to him.
Don't start blaming yourself.
Do you think that's what made him kill himself? The things I said to him?
Evie, I'm a Samaritan, and one thing I learned, it's never one single thing that makes people kill themselves. We don't know what sort of torture the poor man was going through.
So it wasn't my fault.
Of course it wasn't.
I used to stand up for him on the estate. I never liked him or his mummy.
I only met him very briefly, and he wasn't a very likeable man.
No one's going to miss him. I won't end up like that.
Of course you won't.
You and me as friends.
We are.
I had another friend, Lauren. She didn't live on the estate. She lived in a nice house. She worked in boots. She was a pharmacy assistant, always had a cupboard full of drugs. Well, then she moved to Doncaster, where she met a man on the internet. Do you go on the internet?
Only for my work.
I used to advertise on it, but I'm not doing that anymore. Oh, I hope you don't mind me asking, but have you ever had a boyfriend?
A boyfriend?
Yes.
I've had friends who are men.
Did you ever, you know?
I'm not sure what you mean.
You see, the doctor said I'm a nymphomaniac.
I'm sure that's not true.
I like men. Not all men, but quite a few. I really like Dr. Sharma. Oh, don't you think he's handsome?
I hadn't really thought about it.
He's taken a real interest in me, and I don't mean just professionally. I know about these things. I'm very experienced.
They're just professional people doing their job. Although in my case, there's been a God almighty mix-up. My brother's away at the moment. When he finds out, all hell will break loose.
Nurse Quendi is in the office doing some paperwork.
Have you got a minute, Rose?
Yes?
It's been a terrible day. There'll be an investigation, of course, into Sydney's suicide. We'll all be questioned. You know, about Sydney's mental state when he was discharged. They'll probably try and point the finger at me.
I will back you up.
Thank you, Rose. Now, I want you to keep an eye on Sanjay.
Why?
He's taking this rather badly.
He's got too involved. I tried to warn him.
He's an excellent nurse.
Too good sometimes.
It's his nature, really. This profession, like a lot of caring professions, tends to attract a lot of gay men. It's something to do with their feminine side, their compassionate side. I've seen it time and time again. Gay men unable to maintain a clinical detachment. It can be detrimental to their mental health. I wish he wouldn't wear those tight-fitting trousers. I keep on meaning to tell him, but I'm frightened he'll take it the wrong way.
We were not allowed to wear makeup or perfume on duty. We were told that on our first day on the wards.
Pity there's nothing in the rule book about tight trousers.
Sanjay enters the day room.
Evie, Claire, meeting.
I'm waiting for a phone call.
The meetings are compulsory, Claire.
Miss Sutton.
Miss Sutton.
They move to another part of the stage where chairs are laid out in a semicircle. The new patient Taylor is sitting there next to Nurse Quendi.
Everyone, this is Taylor.
They put you in Sydney's bed.
Now we all know about poor Sydney.
Well, he'd still be alive if you hadn't chucked him out.
None of us knew he was going to do this.
She made him do it.
You can't blame Nurse Quendi.
Why am I to blame?
You treated him like he was the shit beneath your shoe.
You're talking about the way you treated him. Don't think I didn't hear you insult him all the time.
I was only saying the truth. He did it with young boys underage who were desperate. He didn't even give them any money. One boy came all the way from Hemel Hempstead.
But he's dead now, Evie, and we need to talk about how we feel about it. People will be coming and they will be asking questions.
What sort of questions?
About how Sydney seemed to you just before he was discharged.
He had the hots for you, Sanjay.
That's got nothing to do with it.
Well, it's got everything to do with it. You're gorgeous. Especially to a man like Sydney. We all fancy you, Sanjay. Even Claire.
Don't bring me into this.
And all the time you spent with Sydney, you know, in the office, chatting away. I know you was trying to help, but he got ideas.
Oh, shut up!
What?
He told you to shut up.
He's a nurse. He can't tell me to shut up.
Somebody's got to.
I can't talk to you when you're in this mood.
I can always talk to Dr. Sharma.
Good.
If anyone's to blame, it's him.
You think so, Claire?
Yes, I do. There's something about that man. He's got no soul. He never looks you in the eye when he speaks to you, as if you weren't there. Why isn't he here now? What does he think about Sydney's suicide?
You can ask him yourself.
I won't get a proper answer. He'll just throw the question back at me. They all do that. These psychiatrists, psychotherapists, psychoanalysts, all a load of quacks, the lot of them.
Have you had a lot of experience then, Miss Sutton?
Well, not me personally. Misguided work colleagues have gone for help.
Let's get back to discussing how we feel about Sydney.
I only knew him for a few hours, but I think he was somebody who was hard to like.
I knew him for 30 years. I think he's in a better place.
Evie.
You said we should talk about how we feel. Well, they hated him on the estate.
We were in the process of getting him alternative accommodation.
Where?
A long-term hostel.
A hostel? They beat the shit out of him.
Sydney was a misfit.
You didn't know him.
The adult education system is full of Sydneys, people with little or no education who thought going on one of our courses would change their lives. They were usually quite disruptive, rarely completed the course. You see, in my opinion, education is a key factor in turning someone's life around, but not for someone like Sydney.
Thank you, Miss Sutton. This is a tragedy that shouldn't have happened. Maybe we can learn from this and do things differently in the future.
What have you learnt from this, Nurse Quendy?
We all did what we could for this patient.
That's not how I see it. There's always a funny atmosphere when you're in the room, Nurse Quendy. We're not possessed by the devil, you know.
I don't know what you are talking about.
Yes, you do. I've seen you and the other African nurses all huddled together.
Evie, that's enough. This is going to be a very difficult time for all of us without you making up stories.
They're not stories.
The meeting is over now. We will all be very busy, but if you need to talk about anything, you know where we are.
Sanjay and Nurse Quendy get up. Nurse Quendy and Evie glare at each other. Taylor remains seated.
Taylor,
I hated him.
go to the day room.
I hated him.
I know you did.
Sanjay's not himself. He told me to shut up. I could report him for that.
I'd drop it if I were you. He must be out of his mind with worry, poor man.
He led Sydney on. He didn't mean to, but he did. I won't say anything, but it's bound to come up.
He was probably just showing concern, and Sydney misread the signals. It often happens with lonely, vulnerable people.
Oh, you're so knowledgeable, Claire. I'm glad I got a friend like you. I hate being a fool.
You're not a fool, Evie. You wrote a story that won a competition.
You're right.
Dr. Sharma wants to see you.
To see me?
Yes.
Oh, how do I look? Oh, have I got time to change my top?
He wants to see you now.
All right. Keep your hair on. I'll see you later, Claire.
Evie goes into the nurse's office. Sanjay is about to leave.
Not that it means anything, but it seems to me you did all you could for Sydney.
Thank you, Miss Sutton.
He goes off. Dr. Sharma is waiting for Evie in the nurse's room.
Hello, Evie.
Hello, Doctor.
And how are you today?
Very upset about Sydney.
I know, it was terrible. You mustn't take it too much to heart, Evie.
I always try to be nice to him. He just provoked me all the time.
Of course.
He wasn't an easy man to... Well, he wasn't someone you could really take to.
No.
I did what I could. Nobody liked him on the estate.
Please don't start blaming yourself. These things happen. You must think about yourself. How are you getting on with your new medication?
It's making me thirsty. I keep wanting fizzy drinks, especially in the middle of the night. I drank a whole giant bottle of Fanta.
Well, that's not good. You should just have water. All the sugar in those drinks won't help you keep your weight down.
Do you think I'm too fat, Doctor?
No.
I'm voluptuous.
Yes. Very good.
Do you like voluptuous women?
Evie.
Well, you're looking very smart today, Doctor. Are you going anywhere special?
Nowhere special, just seeing you.
Oh! Oh, the others have been very jealous, Doctor.
Now, are you still hearing voices?
Well, not so much. I did what you said. You know, I just told them to go away. And they did.
Well, that's very good.
I miss them. Julia comes back from time to time, but she doesn't stay long.
But they're not real. You know that.
They were somebody to talk to.
You have plenty of people to talk to.
Claire, you know, the new lady is my best friend. She's ever so clever. You name anything and she knows about it. Oh, I'd love to get hold of her hair and do her hair and makeup. She's not really that plain. Do you think she's plain?
Evie, we're talking about you. Look,
I'm knitting you a jumper.
That's very kind of you.
Oh, it was supposed to be a surprise. I'm doing an OT. It'll be ready for Christmas. If you stood up, I could just take your chest measurements.
Not now, Evie. Some other time, perhaps.
What is your chest size?
38.
I was right.
Evie, I have something to tell you.
Oh?
Yes. Maybe today wasn't the best time to tell you, but I felt it couldn't wait. I got an email from the nursing home your father's at in Sutton. He's very ill. They don't know how much longer he's got. He keeps asking for you, apparently.
Is that it?
Yes.
You mean that's why you wanted to see me?
Yes.
Just to tell me that old git's about to snuff it?
Evie.
I thought you wanted to see me about my medication, talk to me about my voices. Nurse Sanjo said you were going to find me somewhere new to live when I leave here. I thought you were going to tell me one of my babies had found me. You know what I'll do? You know, the minute you release me, I'll hang myself. That's what I'll do, just like Sydney, when no one's looking.
You're obviously very upset. I'll prescribe a tranquilizer.
Don't need no tranquilizer. You get me all excited, wanted to see me just to tell me that old Dick's asking for me. I don't care. I've never cared. Do you think he cared? I've been in and out of places like this for over 25 fucking years, ever since they took my babies away from me, and he never once come to see me. Not that I wanted him to. Do you think I wanted everyone to know I've got a father blacker than Nurse Quendy? Let him rot in hell.
Let me sort out that tranquilizer for you.
I don't want Nurse Quendy coming near me with any needles.
You need to rest.
He never bought me nothing. You know, dolls and things like that. All the other girls, they had dolls, and I had nothing. My little girls are beautiful dolls. He never talked to me. He never talked to any of us.
And your mother?
Oh, she was frightened of him. She was frightened of her own shadow. 3 of us. 1 died of an overdose. 1's in prison and I'm here. Well, they can't release me. Not now.
You can't stay here forever.
Why not? It's warm. I got my own room. The grub's not up to much, but it's better than nothing. Do you want me to go on the game again?
You'll have an excellent support team. You'll make new friends.
Let me stay here.
Evie, when you're discharged, you won't be able to come back.
Why?
We don't think it's good for you to keep coming back. We want you to be able to be in the community.
What about my voices?
You can control them. You're responding very well to the new drug.
They'll come back. They always do. You don't know what it's like. I was banging my head against the wall to get rid of them.
Evie, they won't come back if you don't want them to.
Oh, let me stay till Christmas. Till I finished your jumper.
Oh, don't worry about that now.
You are very handsome.
Evie, please.
Close the door.
Certainly not.
Don't you like me?
You're my patient and I care. I care about all my patients.
All the girls fancy you, Doctor.
Evie, you should think very seriously about going to see your father. A member of staff will accompany you. I can call the home right now.
Oh, he can go fuck himself. That's what he can do.
No, Sir Quendy, will you take Evie back into the day room?
You are making yourself excited. You will need to be sedated.
Oh, piss off or I'll sedate you.
Nurse Quendy leaves. Evie goes outside. Claire enters.
I've been looking for you. Sydney's death must have really upset you. Stop blaming yourself.
It's not Sydney.
No?
Dr. Sharma told me my dad's died.
Oh, Evie, I am so sorry.
Oh, don't be. I hated him.
But even so.
He never wanted to know me, so why should I care about him now? Do you care about your dad?
That's different. He
asked to see me.
You should go.
Why?
He's your dad.
Oh, so?
Just to say goodbye.
Oh, I thought it was one of my babies trying to find me. That happens, you know, after years. They try and find their biological mother. I thought one of them had traced me. You read about it all the time. Instead, it's him. Why couldn't it be one of my babies? I think about him every day. I wasn't a bad mother. I just couldn't cope. You know, I couldn't get out of bed to see to them. I was on the gear then, but I'm clean now. That's why I have to have things when they took them away. It made me feel better for a while. I want to know how they're doing, whether they had nice homes. I was never allowed to contact them again, not once they'd been adopted. I wrote letters to them through the local authorities, but I never got nothing back. Do you think they hate me?
I bet they're doing really well.
Oh, they must be married by now. I'll be a grandmother. Only don't let on. Did your dad love you?
I had the most wonderful parents.
You were lucky. My dad's as black as night.
Does that matter?
Matters to me. Oh, I can't remember what he looks like. It's that long ago. Oh, I've got a splitting headache. Oh, I'm just going to have to go and get some paracetamol.
Evie goes to the nurse's office. Nurse Aquendi is there looking through some files.
Yes,
Is Nurse Sanjay here?
he is on a break. What is the matter?
I've got a splitting headache.
Lie on your bed.
Can't you give me something for it?
Sanjay is on his break. He will be back soon. He has the keys for the medicine cabinet.
I only want a couple of paracetamol.
I told you come back when he is here. Now go away. I am busy.
What's wrong with you? You're such a fucking rude black bitch.
I am not.
Bitch.
I am not a witch.
Yes, you are. I've seen you and the other Africans all huddled up casting spells.
I am not a witch. I do not cast spells. You are an evil woman. Go and get out of this office.
She gives Evie a very sharp push. Sanjay comes in.
What's happening?
That bitch just pushed me.
She called me a witch.
Evie, go to your room.
I want some paracetamol.
I will bring you some.
Oh, that bitch wouldn't do it.
Evie, that's enough. I'll see you in a minute.
I'm reporting her. Bitch, you pushed me. I'm reporting you too. You were rude to me in the meeting. You're not allowed to be rude to a patient. I know that. You led Sydney on. I wasn't going to tell him, but I am now.
You can tell them what you like.
Oh, well, we'll see what they make of it.
Why do you allow her to talk to you like that?
Because she's talking rubbish and it doesn't matter.
She could get you into trouble.
I don't care what she says. Nobody will listen.
Patients like that are very dangerous. They talk too much.
Rose, I saw you push that patient. You know we mustn't touch them.
She called me a witch.
She's just heard her father's dying.
My mother is dead. All this help they get to find them accommodation. In Lagos, we lived in 2 rooms, a kitchen and a bedroom where 8 of us slept.
Rose, patients will call us all sorts of things. You know it's part of the job. I won't repeat what patients have called me.
But she cannot call me a witch.
You must ignore her. She's sick.
I don't care what she is. She cannot call me a witch. I am not a witch. The nurses here are my friends. They are not witches.
No, of course not.
We are Nigerians, educated. I went to university. We are not witches.
Evie exaggerates about everything. It's part of her illness.
She is not ill. She is evil. She said things to that man. That is why he killed himself.
He didn't kill himself because of what Evie said. We don't know why he killed himself. We weren't inside his head the moment he did it. He was thinking terrible thoughts.
He wanted to kill himself. Nothing you could have done. He was wasting a bed, like Evie.
She's schizophrenic. She hears voices.
She's making it up. She's just a prostitute.
And when she leaves here, she'll go back to being a prostitute.
There are sick people on the streets not getting any treatment.
We can't choose who we treat.
I don't want to treat someone who calls me a witch. Just because I'm African doesn't make me a witch. That woman is black herself.
She has a lot of issues.
She is bad.
I will have to report that you pushed a patient.
Please don't.
I can't just let it go.
You don't understand.
I think I do.
No, you don't. My mother died just before I came to England.
I'm sorry.
She was 47. It was sudden. She was well then. Suddenly she became ill and died. Cancer of the liver.
You must miss her.
She was a good woman. I miss her very much. My father had his own business, a store that sold everything. You know, pots and pans and scrubbing brushes, that sort of thing. Then they opened up a big store near him, selling the same things, only cheaper. Overnight, my father's business was nothing. 6 children and nothing to eat. I have a younger sister, Omalara, very pretty girl. My mother loved her. I love her, but very obstinate. All of us children did everything our parents wanted. Never questioned the will of your parents. But Omalara would answer my father back. He'd say, Omalara, go and do your studies. And Olamara would say, no, I want to play. Olamara, get ready for church. And she would say, I'm not going to church today. I don't like it. My father, very cross, and asks for guidance from the pastor. The pastor tells my father that Olomara is bewitched and she has to be exorcised. 13,000 naira to exorcise her. That is nearly half a year's salary. I begged my father not to do it. That Olomara girl is a good girl. There are no such thing as witches. But he borrows the money from my aunt, and the pastor does this exorcism in church, rubbing chili peppers into her eyes, and all the time she is screaming. And the pastor says, now she is free of evil spirits.
And did you believe that?
I think the pastor believes this is a good way to make money.
It was a Christian church.
And it goes on all over Nigeria. Anyway, bad things continue happening in our family. Landlord wants to throw us out for not paying rent. One of my brothers loses his job, and even though I tell her over and over again, Olonwarara is still answering everyone back. My father is a desperate man. If my mother was still there, she would have calmed him. He went into a terrible rage. I have never seen him like that. He calls Olomara a witch and chops off one of her fingers.
What?
It's true.
Where was everybody?
My brothers were out working. I tried to stop him. He is a big man. He practically crushed me. Then he threw her out screaming in the street. I ran after her and took her to hospital. I couldn't tell them what happened. I said it was an accident. It was my fault. I was chopping onion and she put her finger on the board and I didn't see.
And they believed you?
Why wouldn't they? My pretty sister, 11 years old, without a finger.
Didn't she want to tell them what really happened?
I told her not to. For once, she listened to me.
I can't believe all this.
Yeah, it's the truth.
I know.
Please. No one knows this. Not even my brothers.
Of course, I won't say anything.
I had to tell you. So you know why I can't be called a witch.
Yes.
I shouldn't have pushed that patient, but...
It won't go in the report.
Thank you. I had to find a place for my sister. There is a commune just outside of Lagos where they took her. I have visited her a few times. She is well looked after. But some of the other children have their bodies covered in acid burns, and others have whole limbs missing, all because their families think they are witches.
Is it always the children?
Yes, or very old women, women without children.
Isn't anything being done to stop it?
Oh, yes. People have been sent to prison. Articles in the newspaper saying how shocking it is, but still, it goes on. Please, nobody must ever call me a witch.
Do you want to take the rest of the day off?
No, I can't. We have a crisis.
We can cope.
I'll be fine.
Rose, I feel very privileged that you told me all this. And of course, it's in confidence. But I have to think about the patients. You're going to have to deal with Evie.
She is bad.
No, she's ill and she's getting better.
Good.
She may call you a witch again, especially if she thinks it's going to antagonize you. You have to ignore it.
Yes.
Do you promise me?
Yes.
This is a shit job, Rose.
What are you saying?
When I came here, I didn't think that. This is my first suicide. I don't want to stay around for the next one. It doesn't matter how hard we try, does it? Fabio's so much better off in intensive care. At least most of his patients get better.
Some of them are very bad people.
It's not the patients. There'll be a big inquiry into Sydney's suicide. We'll all be cross-examined. It'll go on for weeks.
We will all be in trouble.
And there'll be a report to say how we should change things. You know, do it better, learn by our mistakes. But we won't. I wanted to be a doctor, but my parents couldn't afford the fees. I never thought being a nurse was second best.
I always wanted to do nursing since I was a little girl.
You're a good nurse, Rose.
Thank you.
But I'm seriously thinking of trying to get a transfer to one of the general wards.
You can't. You're so dedicated. I envy the way you communicate with them.
But we don't see any results. In a general ward, patients come in and for the most part, they get better. In general nursing, we can say yes to a patient. Here, we always have to say no. They can't have visitors. They're not allowed out. All we do is watch them and make sure they take their medication.
I didn't know you felt like this, Sanjay.
Fabio and I are planning to get married.
I see.
Fabio would like to go back to Italy, but the health service is in an even worse state. We thought of Canada, Vancouver. It's a beautiful city. We might set up our own business. Fabio doesn't want to stay in nursing. What about you, Rose?
Me? I can't go back to Nigeria. My friend is coming over. He is a professor of languages in the University of Lagos. He will divorce his wife and marry me. It was one of those arranged marriages. He is very unhappy. His wife is a very bad person.
Not a witch?
No, but she is only interested in his money. One of those lazy women who don't work. I told him, whatever happens, I want to continue nursing, even after we have babies.
Evie is sitting by herself in the day room, rocking herself from side to side. Nurse Akwendi comes in.
I'm going to report you. I am. I'm going to report you.
Just as you wish.
The last nurse that was reported for hurting a patient was sacked.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have pushed you. But please don't call me a witch again. I am not a witch. I do not believe in witchcraft. If you knew what happened to my family, you would understand.
I'm still going to report you. Someone's just went straight home and killed themselves, in case you've forgotten. Maybe you put a spell on him.
Please don't say that ever again.
Where is Nurse Sanjay?
He is busy.
I'm going to report him too.
For what? He is a good man.
My father's dying.
I know.
How do you know?
Sanjay told me. I am sorry.
I'm not.
He is your father.
Oh, he means fuck all to me.
You shouldn't say such words about your father.
Why not?
You must go and see him before it's too late.
It's been too late for years.
My father's done very bad things. I can't tell you how bad. It would horrify you. But if he was dying, I would go and see him immediately.
Why?
Because he is my father, and he was responsible for bringing us into the world. I'm sure your father cannot be that bad.
How do you know?
It's none of my business what happened between you and your father.
Nothing. That's the trouble.
Then go to him. It will put your mind at rest. Don't let him die alone. No one should die alone.
Sydney did.
That was very unfortunate.
Oh, he was always going to end up that way, whatever happened. They were lucky they found him when they did. He'd have stank the whole place out. Mind you, he stank the place out when he was alive.
It's no use talking about Sydney anymore.
I don't know why you became a nurse.
Why?
Yes.
Because I want to help people. People that really need help.
Or is it because there's a shortage of nurses, so it's easier to stay in this country? The money must be quite good.
That has nothing to do with it.
Doesn't it?
I like to see sick people become better.
Do you think I'm sick?
I think you are better than you think you are.
I'm a schizophrenic. I hear voices.
You're not hearing voices now.
Not so much.
Then you are getting better.
I'm not ready to be discharged.
That is not up to me. I see a big, healthy woman with loads of personality and plenty of life in her, wasting her time in this place.
I don't want to go home. The voices will come back.
They will only come back if you want them to. You can stop them just like that. You know it.
I like it here.
That's the trouble. It's too comfortable. Clean sheets, nice and warm. It's not doing you any good. Say to yourself, I don't want to be a sick woman anymore, but a big, healthy person ready to enjoy life. Promise me you will see your father.
What does it make to you?
It will make you feel better if you do.
How do you know that?
It's only natural. Please go and see your father. You will find he has many things he wants to say to you.
Like goodbye.
More than goodbye. I'm sure he is feeling guilty. Give him this last opportunity. Huh?
How do I know he hasn't gone senile?
You don't know till you go.
I'll only go if Claire can come with me.
She is not allowed.
I'm not going unless she comes.
One of the staff will accompany you.
It's me, Evie.
Can't come out at the moment.
Why?
I'm writing a letter.
To who?
IMP.
Oh, do you know him?
We sat on the same board of the college I was working at.
Do you get on?
We're on first name terms. I'll be out in a minute.
Evie moves into the day room. She knocks on Taylor's door.
Can you play Scrabble? We can listen to music. Oh, come on, Taylor. I need someone to talk to. Oh, they're sending me home soon. But I'll be back. Back before long. The doctor says I can't keep coming back. But where else am I going to go?
Claire comes out of her room and marches into the nurse's office where Nurse Aquendi is sitting.
Yes?
I need to speak to the doctor.
He is busy seeing another patient.
Then a senior member of staff.
You can talk to me.
My mobile has been mislaid, so I need to use your phone.
Patients are not allowed to use staff phones.
Why hasn't my brother been contacted?
We tried. It's been unobtainable.
I don't believe you. You're just trying to keep me here against my will.
Miss Sutton, it costs the government thousands of pounds a week to keep a patient here.
Exactly. So you will be saving all that money by releasing me.
You are here under Section 1 of the Mental Health Act.
A silly mistake.
We don't make mistakes like that.
I want to speak to the organ grinder and not the monkey.
What do you mean by that? Are you calling me a monkey?
Oh, it's just a figure of speech, nurse. Don't be so defensive.
This is a racist remark.
I haven't a racist bone in my body. Ask any of my colleagues at work. My education officer was from Uganda. We got on like a house on fire. My work colleague and I, Howard, had a wonderful holiday in Kenya. We didn't just stay on the coast. Beautiful though it was. We went traveling everywhere, absorbing the food, the culture, the religions. Howard and I found the people very charming and surprisingly civilized. For the record, I don't believe for 1 minute that you're a witch.
I couldn't care less what you think.
Well then, let me use the telephone.
I can make the call on your behalf.
Well, how can I trust you?
Because I am a nurse.
That doesn't mean a thing. Remember the case of that nurse in a hospital in Grantham who killed 7 children in her care?
You are filling yourself with all this nonsense.
But it isn't nonsense, though.
We are here to look after you.
Then just let me use the phone.
Claire goes to grab the phone. The nurse stops her.
You stupid, tiresome woman!
Claire grabs hold of Nurse Akwendi and violently pushes her head against the wall.
Oh!
Akwendi's head begins to bleed. Sanjay and Dr. Sharma rush on. The doctor examines her. He picks up the phone.
Hello? I need the crash team over to Cedar Ward. Cerebral hemorrhage.
Claire has run away down the wall. She bumps into Taylor, who grabs hold of her in his strong arms.
Let's dance!
The play ends.
Okay, so now we're going to start the Q&A section. If anyone would like to send in any questions for the cast. Okay. Will come in any second. All right, we're just waiting for them to come in. Okay, so we've got the first one. This is for the writer. Really enjoyed the play and loved the cast. Were the characters based on real people or amalgams of the writer's psyche? So Stuart, if you want to turn on your microphone and camera, that question's for you. Stuart?
Stuart's gone. Yay.
No, he's no, he's there. Stuart, you just need to. I'm asking you to unmute, but if you want to unmute yourself, you can answer the question.
Come on, Stuart, don't be shy.
Don't be shy. But in the meantime, I can read some comments. Oh, hey, there we are. You just need to unmute yourself. I'm requesting for you to be unmuted. It's at the bottom of the screen. It's the mute button. Yeah, we'll get there.
It's very good.
There we go. Woo!
What was the question?
Okay, so it's for the writer. Really enjoyed the play and loved the cast. Were the characters based on real people or amalgams of the writer's psyche? It's probably the wrong pronunciation.
Yeah, they are based on real people, yeah, or similar. You know what I mean? I use a real person as a role model, then change quite a bit. But all these people, every single one of them did exist. I've come across, yeah.
Brilliant.
Finally, the only one that I've really made up is Evie. That's a totally made up character.
You should do more made-up characters, darling.
Yours was partly made up.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Okay, and we got some lovely comments as well. Michelle Todd says, "Bravo from Canada," which is great.
Yay.
And then Dora says, "When is the play set?"
Well, now, isn't it?
Modern day, yeah. And then some more comments. "That was wonderful. Wish I could see this on a stage." Another person says, "I saw news from the Rialto. Does the director find Zoom a useful format to showcase material?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they asking, is it a useful? Or
Yeah. Does the director find Zoom a useful format?
I find it frustrating because, you know, things go wrong on Zoom, and you know, we get Wi-Fi problems. But it's better than doing nothing. It's better than, you know, it's something. It's much better to do a real reading in a room with the audience there, you know, and getting the feel of how you were responding.
We have one for all the actors. Do any of the actors know their characters in real life?
I know someone like Claire, put it that way. Well, at least who I think is like Claire. I'm not going to say who.
I have lots of doctor friends, and yes, I could definitely see similarities, but I'm not going to comment any further.
I mean, I know that Stewart said that Evie is from his imagination, but I have met someone similar to Evie.
I've never met anyone like Sanjay. No, that's not true. No, I have. I have. I don't know any nurses, to be honest. I know doctors, but I don't know any nurses. Very nice doctors.
Oh, I know loads of nurses.
I don't know anyone specific, any nurses who have the same experience as Nurse Rose, but I do know nurses, and I guess there are bits of inspiration from them as well. But it was
there was a great deal of controversy among several psychiatric wards where African nurses were accused of practicing witchcraft. Now, I don't know whether there was any truth in this at all. I've never experienced that in my experience of psychiatric things, but that was going on in various hospitals. Patients were complaining.
Wow.
Excuse.
Okay, so there's quite a lot of comments. It said, "Mandy, you were superb. What inspired your performance?"
Oh gosh. Oh God. Well, I mean, Stewart's character, obviously, it's clearly written and just wonderful. I mean, there's so much to get hold of there. I mean, you know, she tells you her life as she sees it, and then you hear about it more maybe as it was. I mean, you kind of get the you get a real feel for her. I mean, yeah, I'm very fond of her. Even though she can be absolutely vile, I realise. Yeah, I think Stewart's play.
There's quite a few more. It says, "I love your work and wanted to ask what we have to look forward to next."
Oh, who's that from?
That is from
Nancy.
Nancy, my Nancy, the student Nancy.
Potentially.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know. I've got something in the pipeline, but I can't talk about it until it's been finalised. It's not been. We're just in. I'm in development with something, but I don't want to say anything at the moment because, in case things don't happen, and also it's so difficult at the moment with the situation with lockdown, because we could all start doing a production, get ourselves all ready, and then be told we're being shut down again. You know, that's the worry. That's about with anybody in the theatre, I think. I saw your comment, Jan. Thank you. Jan's one of my
Oh yeah, there's loads of great comments. There's another
Well,
question. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Do you want to
Oh,
read?
it was just a quick one. How do you rehearse?
You mean on Zoom?
You mean for Zoom?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. How does it work?
Great difficulty.
Very difficult. Somebody asked a question saying, what was it like what's the experience like using this technology? And it's really difficult if you're doing a two-hander scene and you can't see the other person. It's really difficult to have to pause and stop and click yourself off the video so that somebody else's scene can start. It makes comic timing impossible. And in fact, timing impossible. I'm sure there are ways of doing it, but I don't know about Stewart, but I'm new to I'm not new to doing monologues on Zoom, but I have control over those. When there's more than one person, it's very difficult. And I would really like to learn how we could do it and make it feel more real for us.
On the plus side, I did a Zoom meeting recently that was a really international affair, people in 5 different time zones. So the director was in Jerusalem, the writer in San Francisco, actors in Chicago and Toronto. And so that was amazing that, you know, even in global lockdown, we're still able to
That is good. That is a good
do something, you know, and be creative and get stories out there somehow, you know.
Yeah. That's the good thing about Zoom, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got its pluses. I mean, it is difficult. I thought that the cast were marvellous, by the way. And I thought it was pretty well technically quite all right, really. I think we just lost Kevin for about 5 seconds, that's all. At one
Yes,
point.
I don't know what happened there. I'm the only person. Were you wearing glasses? No, you didn't wear glasses during the show. I was the only person wearing glasses, and something came up, a kind of white card, but I couldn't read what it said.
It was only a couple of lines anyway, and Mikhail covered for you. Actually, it was great. It was only a few lines.
I have to say it's quite tricky because on stage it's quite. I mean, you're improvising almost together. You're making it up, but because the other actor perhaps didn't know he was muted, or Kevin didn't know he was muted.
Right.
So I realized that I should have gone, I'm sorry, I can't really hear you. Or something, you know, come up with something like that. And it only struck me much later. And
you came up, you were what you were doing were answering his questions for him.
It was
only a short, it must have been
Did at one point, did Millie say some of my lines?
No, I just told you to unmute yourself.
Is it sometimes are Zoom productions done where the actors don't do their entrances and exits or mutes, or but a stage manager is doing them? Does that happen sometimes?
It's technically pretty impossible for that to happen, because like the thing that popped up was just me asking you to unmute yourself, so it would still be all in your control in a way. It's complicated because Zoom's not really like made for theatre necessarily. We're just kind of
it's conferences.
Yeah, exactly. This is for conferences. Yeah.
Oh wow!
There's a comment just there saying somebody loved seeing it in this format. So
saying that it was like a it was like a documentary.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's interesting. There's been some interesting comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did have that sort of verbatim feel about it because of
this. Yeah.
There's a nice question from Nick saying, have the cast members acted together before and how different was this?
Acted with each other before?
Yeah. No.
I've had the honour of acting with Annabelle before.
And I've had a similar honour. We did this as a rehearsed play reading live about 18 months ago, and we had a ball working together, didn't we?
Yes,
really.
I had the huge honour of working with the director as an actor in 1995.
What was that?
BBC Children's Uncle Jack and Cleopatra's Mummy.
Oh yes, I was playing a character called Must Have a Pee-Pee. That's right.
Of course you were.
But I had the huge honour, Stuart, of working with you at Regent's Park Open Air Theatre.
Yes, and you directed me in a lunchtime play as well.
Did I?
Oh, God.
It wasn't meant to,
You were
Shakespeare.
Beatrice, and I was in. We did A Midsummer Night's Dream and Much Ado. You just did Much Ado, and some of us did this lunchtime thing, which was.
Oh, you're quite. I'd forgotten that. Sweet Mr. Shakespeare.
You gave me all the best bits.
I what?
You gave me all the best speeches.
How very sensible. I knew you were going to give me parts eventually.
See, exactly. It paid off in the end.
It could be long enough.
It was only 1981.
And this here it said about we didn't mention COVID at all. Well, I thought about that.
Yeah.
I thought if I mention COVID, I'm going to have to write another play because they'd all be in isolation. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be allowed out of their room.
Yeah.
And it freezes it in time, doesn't it? Then as well.
Yes, that's why I it's a bit timeless. I thought about mentioning the COVID, but you can't just do that in passing. It would have
Do nurses in mental hospitals wear masks?
Yeah.
Oh.
And full PPE.
For TV.
Full
No,
PPE. PPE.
Do they wear PPE?
Yeah. What does that PPE mean?
Protective
Well,
clothing.
They wear masks. They wear masks in mental hospitals.
Well, you can't. You wouldn't want to do a play when everybody's wearing masks.
Well,
the
it'd be
whole thing
awful.
about doing a play now is we can avoid thinking about COVID for just a few moments, and I was just so grateful.
I deliberately.
And there will be plenty of COVID plays, I'm sure.
There's so many. My agent said if he reads another one about COVID, he's going to go spare.
Stu, we got a question from your cousin Francis. From your experience,
Where's the back?
You scroll up a little bit. Says, from your experience, do patients cope after discharge, and how is it hard for staff to keep a distance while caring for patients? It's your cousin Francis.
How is it hard for staff to keep a sort of
distance? I think that's a COVID question, but it's also just asking how, from your experience, how do patients cope after discharge?
Well, it varies from borough to borough. I mean, if you're in Camden, you get a lot of good aftercare. If you're in Islington and Hackney, they spend a lot of money on mental health, and they'll have a crisis team and a community care worker. If you're in Brent or Barnet or Haringey, you've had it when you've discharged. They're terrible. I didn't put a particular borough in this one. I didn't do that. But it is a postcode lottery about how much support you get. And it's like a revolving door because patients just come back and they're discharged and they don't really get any better. It's like what Nurse Sanjay says, you don't see any improvements. You discharge people. They've discharged Sydney when he wasn't ready to be discharged. What does he do? He goes and kills himself. That was, the point of having that character there.
And are things different to what used to be called care in the community? Or is that the same policy?
They still say that. They still call it care in the community. But they have a crisis team who come around to see people out of hospital. And some of them are really nice. And then you can have a community care coordinator, which is like a social worker, who just sees, I mean, they're just mental about medication. That's why I added that extra line about the thing. They're mental about people taking their medication. That seems to be more important. Group therapy seems to be out of fashion at the moment in hospitals.
Because that's true about the kidney failure, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
I've got kidney failure.
Oh.
And are the drugs just a way of controlling the patients then? Stop them being trouble.
Well, I wouldn't put it as crudely as that. I think they can be effective, but most people, when they're discharged, don't take their medication, you see. Right. And then they wind up in hospital again. I mean,
there's 45 questions.
I know they're coming in. There's another one. It says, well done all, really enjoyed it. I too would like to see it on the stage. Stuart, was it your intention to challenge what we, the audience, consider normal behaviour?
Yes, I think so. What is normal behaviour? Yeah, I think I probably am subconsciously challenging what is normal behavior, because Evie is not normal behavior, Claire's not normal behavior, Sydney's behavior is not normal. I mean, there are three people who are outside of all of this. And Claire is a woman with total no self-awareness whatsoever. That's that character. She's not aware that how she behaves towards people.
Somebody asked whether I had Claire was a great mix of intelligence and humor, but so judgmental. Did I have empathy for her? Well, you've got to do it from inside your character. You have to find some justification for what you're doing, and particularly when you're playing somebody who's not self-aware, you have to see what she's seeing, and you just have to give in to that. And well, they always say you've got to fall in love with the character, but I knew when I read this it would be lovely to play. So in that sense, I have empathy. There's no point, you can't judge a character you're playing.
No, you don't judge her. That's what's so good about the performance. None of you judged your people. None of you were judging it.
No, that's not our job, is it? The audience are allowed to do that and make up their minds. Yeah. We have to bat for our team, and our team is the person we're playing, and we've got to cheer for them whatever they do.
We've got another question. Were you inspired by Ken Casey's work, Cuckoo's Nest?
What, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's the ultimate play set in an asylum. Nurse Ratched and what's his name? Yes, yes, I was. Yeah, I was influenced by it. Yes. I hope I haven't copied it though.
Not at all.
I would love to play Nurse Ratched.
Well, she's become a symbol, because we had a nurse when I was in hospital who I didn't like, and I called her Nurse Ratched. You know, she's become. Yeah, it shows you how characters are so more important than the plot. Remember Nurse Ratched? Louise Fletcher won Best Supporting Actress for that, an Oscar, didn't she?
She deserved it. Yeah, she was an absolute bitch.
Absolutely no one was judging in their... Oh, that's lovely. So Sadie says absolutely no one was judging in their characterizations.
No, they weren't. No, it was very real.
Good, thank you.
Yeah. Another one asking where the inspiration came from.
I knew somebody would say that. I've been in psychiatric hospital myself.
And somebody here said they were in Bedlam Royal for 11 months.
People saying the same. Yeah.
Who was that? Who said that?
It's anonymous.
Yeah.
I was in Highgate Mental Institute for 4 months, and I had reasonably good experience. 10 years ago, I was at the Royal Free, and it was just appalling. The unit's been closed down, and they didn't care at all. As long as you took your pills, that's all that they. So it was more based on my experiences in the Royal Free than at Highgate.
Great. There's another one from Dora saying, actors, what's one thing that you liked/disliked about your character, and was it easy to bring this out?
Wow.
Difficult. I like the fact that Dr. Sharma listens, and I don't like the fact that he then did not act on what he listened, what he heard necessarily.
Well, he's in a dilemma, isn't he? Because he's got to free up beds. That's the other thing. There's a shortage of beds in psychiatry.
Yeah.
And as far as they're concerned, Sydney is not hearing voices or anything like that, so he doesn't need the bed. Now, Kevin, you said that there wasn't one redeeming facet of your character. You must have.
No, I asked you a lot of questions about him, and you got a bit evasive. So
he loved his mother. He loved his mother.
The only person who loved him, I should think. But when you, Evie, were challenging me about, telling all these terrible stories about what I tried to do to boys. Was that true, or you're making up, or would you think I was doing those things?
I think, well, I don't know what Stewart thinks, but I was assuming that it was just things that I'd heard. I had absolutely
So it was because of the room. And what did
proof
Stewart
that he'd
think?
done that.
Because I did ask you. Do you remember? And you didn't.
I didn't know.
Which made it a bit hard.
I don't know.
Well, what do you think, Kevin?
I don't think he.
I don't think he did that.
I thought he was very unlikely to. Did you say where did you say one of the young men came from? Hainault or Hanwell or somewhere?
All the way from Hemel Hempstead.
Where did he meet them? If so, and did he not get it?
In the graveyard.
Yeah, so I was very confused
He
by
was
that.
cruising a lot, wasn't he? In graveyards.
Go cruising in the cemetery, and
I think he's unemployed, and he wanders around the graveyard, and he might pick up something, but it's gross exaggeration on
Absolutely, it's just things that they were saying on the estate.
So they knew he picked up men, but it turned into boys.
Yeah, they didn't know what had happened. They probably just sat and talked to you, and you gave them a $5 or something like that.
Patted
I think he was terribly sad, Sydney, and I felt really sorry for him.
Me too. We all liked you.
Did anyone find parts of the play amusing?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely. All the way from Hemel Hempstead is a really funny line.
I just found it so. I find it really hard not to laugh sometimes.
And what's the other? Oh, Evie's got a great like a ride there for a ride back. I mean, that's
yes, I love that. That's
never heard that before.
Have you not heard that expression?
No, it's brilliant.
Paul used to do it. I said, "Who's the back? You know, it's a ride there for a ride back."
Well, because it's one of those things people always ask, isn't it? Oh, who's the boy and who's the girl?
Yeah.
Who's Arthur and who's Martha?
The funniest
I wanted to find out whether the audience found it amusing.
Yes, really funny. That's what's just come up.
Everything comments, they love it. They love it.
Yeah, I want to know if the audience found it funny.
Yeah, the audience let us know.
Did you?
It says Charles Dickens and Jackie Collins made me laugh. Yeah, there's loads.
Sue is saying the pity was you couldn't hear us laughing. No, that's really annoying because you need
You
that.
can't get the contact with the audience at all.
No, you can't. We really missed that. So of course we don't know if you liked it.
Because we could have, I suppose you could have a Zoom audience,
Yes, we'd love to have seen it.
So you could hear them at least, maybe.
Lots of tiny little.
I've got one more painful and alarming than just funny. Smell it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's everything. I think you cover the gamut, don't you?
It's very, very sad.
Terribly sad.
Yeah.
But that's why the humour is so important. Sorry, because it comes out of that poignancy.
If you didn't have that humour in it, it would be unbearable, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Oh, someone says they were laughing in caps out loud, which is
Yay.
good. Love that.
I was laughing during rehearsals.
Yeah, I was laughing for like the third time, which is brilliant. And there's loads of people asking if it's going to go to the stage. Is there any plans for that?
Well, there are no plans at the
Yes,
moment.
we've got plans for that.
You need money.
Yes, we need. Well, the thing is, I see it as a community play when I've got like the 6 main actors. And then you get people just playing patients who could be real, having been ex-patients or something in the institution. And I see this as a community play in a theatre. And when you're using, so we have you get your 6 main actors, and then you get a large core of actors who would come along who have been in the mental hospital or something like that. And it'd be a community project. That's how I see it going forward.
Lots of theatres do that, Nottingham or Young Vic or Soho Theatre. Lots of people do community work.
That's how I see this play going on, but I don't know where to go to with it. I've tried I've tried the playground theatre, and they've sort of said they're interested, but not definite.
Well, how about the Muse Theatre?
Well, they haven't got.
Yeah, let's do it.
Somebody just said get Stephen Fry as an extra.
Brilliant. Do that too.
Yes.
There's loads of great comments. I'll see if I can find another. Well, there's one that is we kind of touched upon already, but what's everyone's favorite line?
Oh wow.
Does anyone have one that sticks out?
Oh, ride there for a ride back.
I think that's the best.
Have you
Back
never
that
heard
one.
that expression? You've been around long enough to know that expression.
Who, me?
Oh gosh, I think I've got loads. I've got loads of
There are
them.
loads. I even marked some of them in my script, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
Loads of things that made
So
me
I've
chuckle.
been working very hard on this play because it started off as more or less like a monologue for Evie, didn't it, Mandy?
Yes,
It was a short-
that's how it
short play.
started, didn't it?
And we just had her and the doctor. Then
Her
I
and the
developed
doctor.
it. And when I developed the second draft, I had Sydney actually committing suicide on the wall, not going home. But that caused a lot of problems because you'd have to bring the police, you'd have to bring everything in. So I completely changed it and had him going home and killing himself at home. So it was separate. Also, the character of Claire is new. She wasn't in the former draft. It was another. I completely rewrote that. And that's the new. It's a much
So much
stronger
better.
character. Yeah.
Much better.
I suddenly thought of a woman coming there because I work with psychiatric patients as well as having been one, and I've come across several women, all of whom say, I don't know why I'm here. I have no idea what I'm doing here. They keep on bringing me back, and it's absolute nonsense, right? I mean, and so that gave me the inspiration for a character like Claire.
I think Claire's fascinating because you just I'm playing the scenes with Claire because you've no idea whether she's telling the truth or not, or what does she have a cleaning lady? Does another favourite line was stuff about the bleach, which is the neighbour said it wasn't the first time. She said, well, I clean my steps every day. So,
yes, that seemed unlikely. I thought it was like a northern housewife.
That's hysterical.
I think I have to say that my first line is my favourite first line of anything I've ever done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody actually said that.
Literally, I mean, it says so much.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't duck out of it like so many people would have done, and just no. You
really said it.
It was really, you really said it, and that was the first. Well, actually, the DJ is funny. We don't want to say this, but we don't want to have you back again. You know, we don't want to say it again. It's already funny, and then you landing that line, it just gets a brilliant start.
Fabulous beginning.
Well, and then it starts the Quentin's off. Don't speak to me like that. Don't call me a cunt.
All good stuff.
Hysterical.
Oh
dear.
Well, let's just get the bloody thing on.
Yes, we've got another comment.
So much time working on this play that you get to a point.
Yeah, we've got a comment saying Muse Theatre is open and back around the middle of May. Stu is always welcome.
Which theatre is this?
How lovely.
It's anonymous, but I have a feeling I know who it's from because they also said, I hope you will come back to the Muse Theatre again soon. We love you, Stu, which is great. And then there's so many people saying how much they were laughing, which is great.
I've heard it.
And yeah, there's loads of comments, which is.
Oh, look what Kate S has said. Was going to say the same thing. Got anything for my cunt? I think I'm going to immortalize that on a T-shirt. Oh.
Got anything for me, cunt?
Yeah, I love that.
Actually, somebody actually
always get the C word in the first scene.
Then you know where you are, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sets the benchmark.
Yeah, we can relax now.
Oh dear.
Well, that's wonderful. We've hit 9 o'clock, and so we're probably going to wrap it up. But yeah, I'll send everyone the lovely comments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Millie.
Thank you, Millie. Yeah.
Thank you, Millie.
And Damien.
We've never seen Damien.
No, we haven't seen Damien.
Your face. He's very handsome.
Come on, Damien, let's see you.
Can we
Come on,
not see
Damien,
Damien?
reveal. We want a big reveal.
He's definitely hiding at this
Oh,
point.
that's Damien. Oh,
No.
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 Oh, that's Nick Mallet.
Tease,
All
we remember
panels.
that.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank
you for
you.
being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to sort of
Well done,
meet you all.
Working with you all.
Oh, it was
Thank you.
wonderful.
Lovely.
So nice
It was
working with you.
really lovely to meet you. Really lovely.
Thank
And
you,
you,
Stuart.
See you at
Bye.
rehearsals.
Stuart. Another one.
See you on the first day.
Yeah.
Bye, bye, bye,
Yeah,
bye,
see you
bye,
in
bye, bye.
rehearsals.
Bye all.
Bye.